everybody. I am Anita Singh, Professor of English in Cambridge Institute of Technology. Today, I welcome you all for online classes. We will learn about effective learning and reading practice. Effective reading and writing practice. So first let me tell you what are the benefits of effective reading. Effective reading can provide you with a comprehensible input from the book or document that you need. It can enhance your general ability to use other language skills such as listening, speaking, and writing. It can enhance your vocabulary. You can learn new words, phrases, and expressions. Effective reading also helps you keep your mind focused and prevents from unnecessary distractions. So here effective reading provides you in various methods. It helps you in various methods. It can help you with a comprehensive input. It can enhance your language such as listening and speaking and writing skills, and it can enhance your vocabulary so that you can learn new words and phrases with expressions. Not only that, it can also help you keep your mind focused and prevents from unnecessary distractions. It helps you in these many things. Now next point is it helps in building confidence as you start reading longer and later. It gives you pleasure and relaxation as books are the best and most reliable friends. Okay. Not only that, here it helps in building confidence. As you start reading longer for a long time and later it gives you confidence, it builds your confidence and gives you pleasure and relaxation as the books are the best and reliable friends. So now let me tell you difference between an efficient and inefficient readers. First, let me tell you what is efficient reader, how he can cope up. An efficient reader always reads for ideas and information. Efficient reader, what he do? He or she always reads for an information and ideas. Quickly adjust the speed of reading to the nature of the text. Reads smoothly, has a good vocabulary in the subject, continuously keeps moving, improving the pace of reading. So what an efficient reader will do? If he is very good in reading, he will quickly adjust the speed of reading to the nature of the text. Whatever the text or the content it may be, he will get adjusted fast to the nature of text, reads smoothly, and he or she will have a good vocabulary in the subject and continuously keeps improving the pace of reading. These are the qualities of efficient reader. Now next is inefficient reader. How an inefficient reader will face the problems. Okay, here inefficient reader tries to read words. What he'll do, he or she will try to read words, word by word, because it's not that good in reading. Reads from the text from the beginning to the end. The person reads from the text starting till the end. Reads the information again and again to figure out a clear understanding. So an inefficient reader, what will do? He will not get the information fast. He will not be able to judge what he is reading. So he keeps reading the information again and again to figure out clearly, to understand himself what I am reading and what is the concept is. Has a limited vocabulary which hampers speeds and understanding. Rarely attempts speed reading. So an inefficient reader will never read fast. He will rarely attempt speed reading because he is scared of his words, his vocabulary and his caliber. What are the barriers of effective reading? Information overloaded. So if there are more information, if there is more information, if information is overloaded, it affects in reading. It will not show the quality for effective reading. Lack of familiarity. If you're not familiar with the subject or the concept or whatever it is, this also affects you in effective reading. Workplace gossip. The place where you work and you find a gossip around you affects. Gender differences, differences between the sender and the receiver, proper light and ventilator. So these things, it's very important which you have to understand. First is, what are the barriers of effective reading means? Information overload. If we ask you to read for 1 to 5 pages, up to 1 to 6 pages, it is fine, you can read. If we ask you to complete the whole module, 1 module, 2 module, 3 modules, is not possible. That means the information is overload, or the assignment or the work is overload, that affects you to read. Second is familiarity. If you're not familiar with particular subject or the topic or concept, it affects. Next, workplace. Then gender differences. Here, this plays a very major role. Gender differences means you should not feel that, yes, I am a male and she is a female. These gender differences shouldn't be there. You should feel all are equal there. In the sense, they are your classmates or your friends or your colleagues. Next, difference between the sender and the receiver. Yes, this also affects difference between the sender and the receiver. The communication makes a lot of differences. Poor light and ventilation. When you sit for reading, see that you get proper light and ventilation. If there is no proper ventilation or the light, it affects your reading. To read effectively, points to remember. So, what are the points you have to remember to become an effective reader or to read effectively? First is, read every day and vary the material you read. A book, a magazine, article, etc. So here what I am trying to tell is, read every day. So practice makes perfect. You keep reading every day and check out the materials you have read. Let it be a book, a magazine or an article. Try reading things that are little challenging. In other words, don't just vary the subject matter, vary the difficulty too. So don't go only for the subject matter. Don't choose only text or the reading which is related to your subjects. You can go for other books, other materials too. Second point is, learn and practice the skills of effective reading. So this point is, you have to read and practice. Learn and practice the skills of effective reading. Third, keep reading every day and use good effective reading skills. So keep reading every day. If you keep reading every day, it will improve your knowledge and you will become a good effector in reading. You will have a good effectiveness in reading. So if you read every day, you will become a good effective, you will get a good efforts or the effects in your reading. So fourth is, learn and practice the skills of reading. Every day, put your skills to work. Practice makes perfect. In the sense, learn and practice the skills of reading every day. Every day, try to read. If you read every day, putting your skills to work, it will affect you. It will enhance your caliber or the reading skill. Here, practice makes perfect. If you keep practicing every day, it will make you perfect one fine day. Now, next, we'll come to report writing. What is report writing here? Definition. In general terms, a report is an account of or a statement about something that happened in the past. See, your report writing is nothing but it is a statement about something that happened in the past. The word report has originated from Latin word reporti. Re means back and porti means to carry. In general, the word report means to carry back. So this word report has originated from Latin word reporti. Here, it's nothing but, in general, the word report means to carry back. Reporti means, here re means back and porti means to carry. In other words, it is a description of some event or situation that has already happened. So in other words, what it is a description of something. You are going to describe something or some event which or situation which has already happened. A report is a document that is written to be carried back to someone who requires it. So report is nothing but it's a document that is written and has to be carried back to someone who requires it. So what are the salient features or what is the noticeable features of this report writing? On the basis of the above stated definition, we can easily trace the characteristics feature of a business report. So based on these features, we can easily trace the characteristics of business report. Business report is also known as formal communication. It will be in a formal communication. So first point, a formal piece of writing, a factual account, written with a specific purpose, written in an organized manner, written for a specific audience, written in an objective manner, includes only relevant information. So how we are going to write this report? This is a formal piece of writing and you're writing only the truth, the proper content which is truthful and the specific purpose. And it should be in an organized manner and it should be written for a specific audience and it should be an objective manner and it should include only relevant information. What is relevant to the topic, you have to write that. Relevant to the report. Don't go away. Don't get distracted when you write this. Significance. As already suggested, reports are an indispensable or absolutely necessary part of professional communication. Here, reports are very important for professional. So, it plays a major role in professional communication. So, broadly speaking, reports help professionals achieve the following objects. So, here, broadly speaking, reports help professionals achieve the following objects. How it helps? Reports help professionals plan, acquire, execute, organize, manage, coordinate and evaluate business activities in an effective way. So these reports plays a major role for professionals. See, report helps professionals how? In planning, in acquiring, in executing, organizing, managing. So all these things reports help. It helps in different ways, in different activities, in an effective manner. Reports facilitate the flow of information to ensure smooth execution of tasks. So here, reports facilitate the flow of information to ensure smooth execution of tasks. Sometimes they serve as a record of facts where information is originated, organized and recorded for the reader's benefit. So sometimes these reports are served or they act as a record of facts where information is gathered, where information has originated and recorded for the reader's benefit. Reports enable the authorities to take timely decisions. They may be used for further analysis. So here, reports enable the authorities, which helps the authorities to take timely decision, means the appropriate proper decision. They may be used for further analysis also. So here, reports play a very vital role. Next point is, they can be helpful in creating awareness among shareholders and other investors when reports are sent to them. So here, these reports can be helpful in creating awareness among shareholders. So it serves as a document for them and it can be served or it can be created awareness among the shareholders and other investors when reports are sent to them. So now let me tell you the difference between oral and written report. What differences we find between the oral and the written report? First, oral reports. Here this is divided into two parts, oral reports and written report. Oral reports are nothing, they are spoken. Written reports, they will be in the written form. Here oral report, first point is presented face to face. Here when we are reporting, here we present ourselves face to face, in the sense the sender or the receiver, the interviewer and the interviewer, we have two ways communication, face to face communication. Here, written report not necessary. Here, face-to-face presentation is not necessary. Easy for the speaker since presentation is already done and difficult for listener. So here it is easy for the speaker. Face-to-face communication as a speaker speaks here. Okay, it will be easy for the speaker since the presentation is done, and it will be a bit difficult for the listener. It will take some time for him to judge. Whereas here in written report, easy for the readers to take his or her time in grasping the facts, but difficult for the writer since he or she has to gather facts. See here in written report, it will be easy for the readers because he will take his time and he can grasp the things easily. He can grasp the facts, but difficult for the writer. Why? Because he or she has to gather facts and then write. Immediate clarification is possible, whereas in oral reports, immediate clarification is possible because we are presenting face to face, whereas in written report, immediate clarification is not possible in the absence of face to face communication. So here we don't have face-to-face communication in written reports. At that time, what will happen? Immediate clarification is not possible. It will take some time. And oral report, less accurate, reliable, informal. Oral report is less accurate. It takes less time and we can rely easily, and it is informal also. Whereas when you go for written report, most accurate, reliable, and formal. This is the difference between oral and written reports. Next, informal reports. We will learn what is this informal reports. Here it's nothing but informal reports are also known as oral reports. The ultimate purpose of an informal report is to fulfill an immediate requirements which does not require an elaborate analysis or presentation. So, these are shorter than formal reports. See here, the purpose of an informal report is to fulfill an immediate requirement, which does not need a long elaborated analysis or presentation. You can get it done short. And it's not longer than the formal report. Informal reports are also written by using the same format as that of the letter or a memorandum. Here, how we write this informal report, we can use the same format as that of a letter. How we write letter in the same format, we can write this informal letter or informal report. Whereas formal report, the differences you can find now. Formal reports have the seriousness of purpose and content presenting elaborated data which cannot be informally presented. Here in formal reports, they have to be serious of purpose. What is the purpose you are writing? It should be very specific, serious, and content presenting elaborated data. And of course, here we need elaborated data. Data must be more, and it cannot be presented informally as we do in informal report. Here, formal report presentation must be formal and relevant data must be given, and some seriousness of the purpose has to be maintained. There are various types of formal reports. So now let us learn the various types of formal reports. They are broadly classified under three categories. So these reports are classified into three categories. First, let me take about routine or periodic reports. First report is routine and it's also known as periodic reports. Second is informational report. Third is interpretive reports. So let me tell about routine or periodic report, what it is. Routine reports are also known as periodic reports. These reports are annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, or at any other prescribed intervals in the routine of business affairs. So these reports are annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, or any time, any prescribed intervals in the routine of business affairs. It's not that it should be annually or it's not that it should be quarterly or half yearly. It can take its own time to present this. Routine reports can be classified into the following 5 types. See now, these reports are classified into 5 types. First is progressive or progress report. Next is inspection report, laboratory report, inventory report, annual confidential report on employees. So now let us learn what is progress report. A progress report informs the particular project undertaken by an organization during a specific time. Here the progress report informs the reader about the status of the progress of a particular project undertaken by an organization during a specific period or time. It gives an account of the various stages of the project in chronological order with the detail of the work completed till date. So this progress report will give an account of various stages which have been underwent, which is gone, which has taken place. So it starts from the chronological order, in the sense from the beginning till date what it has happened, how far it is completed so far. Next is laboratory report. Laboratory reports are those reports which are written by scientists and students of engineering, science, psychology, biology, and those who work regularly in laboratories. These scientists and students record their experiments in a pro forma mentioning various details related to the experiments. See, as the name itself, laboratory reports, in the sense who works there? Scientists or engineering students, psychology, biology, and those who work regularly in the laboratory. This category of people work in this laboratory. These scientists and students record their experiments in a particular format, what is available, what is given to them. And they mention the various details related to the experiments. So what experiments they do, they mention the various details related to the experiments there in a particular format. Next is inspection reports. Inspection reports are the routine reports that are compiled only after the thorough investigation of object or products. So this inspection reports are routine reports. After investigation, we get the proper report. They compile only going through the investigation of proper object or a product or whatever it is. A report of this type is written in a prescribed format. So a report of this type is written in a prescribed format. They have a prescribed format where they write this report, where there are several columns indicating the options regarding the quality and operation of each and every part of a particular product. So here in this report, they have a particular format where there are several columns indicating the options regarding the quality of the operation of each and every part of a particular product. Now next, coming to inventory report. What it is? Often this type of report is computer generated and requires the user to put in the relevant data regarding the stock on hand. Thus, these reports keep an account of the material available, its consumption, proper maintenance, etc. So, this report is computer generated and requires the user to put the relevant data regarding the stock on hand. And these reports keep an account of the material available, its consumption, and proper maintenance during that time. Next is annual confidential report of an employee. As the name suggests, these reports are submitted annually by the controlling officer about the subordinate. Therefore, in this report, sometimes questions are included and some space is given for providing short explanation. So here, the controlling officer, he will give the details or the report of the subordinates. So in this report, we find some questionnaires also. There are some questions which are included and some space is given which provides a small explanation. Means the controlling officer or the subordinates, for whomever it is addressed, he or she must give explanation regarding this. So now tips for planning and conducting personal interviews. So now we'll go for tips for planning and conducting personal interviews, how we go, how we plan. Get a prior appointment from the person whom you plan to meet and inform him or her about the purpose. See, all of a sudden, you're not supposed to run or we're not supposed to rush to an interview place. We have to take a prior appointment from the person whom you plan to meet and inform him or her before the purpose why you are going to meet them. Dress well and reach the venue on time. Dress well in the sense you have to dress in a very formal way and reach the place on time, because the person who is waiting for him will be giving his valuable time for you. He will spare his valuable time for you. After reaching the venue, greet your interviewer warmly and then begin your interview. After reaching the place, you greet your interviewer according to the situations. Hello sir, good morning sir, good afternoon, good evening. You have to greet them and then you begin your interview there. Exhibit your zeal and interest in the answers by listening actively. Exhibit your zeal in the sense your energy by listening actively. You must listen to your interviewer properly, carefully, and then answer him in a very appropriate manner. At times of confusion, do not get annoyed, rather seek clarification. So when sometimes you may be confused, you may not be able to understand what the interviewer is asking. At that time, don't get confused, not annoyed. Instead of that, you ask for clarification. Avoid asking embarrassing or personal questions. So when you go for an interview, see that you're up to the mark. So what the questions are posed on you and what the interview expects from you, you are supposed to do that. Don't ask any embarrassing or personal questions. Do not get involved in unnecessary or heated arguments. So when you're attending an interview, don't get involved in unnecessary or heated arguments, which will not serve the purpose there. Since you are seeking a favor from the interviewer, always assume a subordinate position. Since you are going for an interview, you are seeking a favor from an interviewer, always assume your subordinate position. You must sense for what purpose you are going and what is your position there. Thank your interviewer for sparing time and always keep the lines of communication open. So once you are done with the interview, thank your interviewer for sparing his time and always keep the lines of communication open. So you must always keep the lines of communication open in the sense you must be clear. You must be transparent. And before leaving the place, thank your interviewer and you can leave the place there.